Better bring that closer so you can see all the detail, right? Hi, everyone. Today's the 2nd of April, 2019. I'm Roy Potter. Welcome to this impromptu of the Potter Expositor. I find it necessary to talk this morning. Like I said, I'm kind of traveling. I'm on my way to a meeting. And I've been thinking about this all night. Hello, everyone, as you come in. It's good to see you. We're in a very strange place right now in so many ways. But this is one of them. We have the anti Second Amendment crowd, and we have the pro Second Amendment Bill of Rights, pro Bill of Rights, constitutional republic supporters. And this division is becoming serious. And you'll notice from my title here on this video that I'm going to address a specific issue this morning. We have constitutional sheriffs, even in the liberal leftist states like Colorado, Washington, Oregon, and California, who are standing against their states' infringements on the Second Amendment, even under threats of going to jail, which is totally absurd. But this is where we are now. If you stand for constitutional principles, even sheriffs are threatened. But we also have, of course, those in the sheriff's organizations and in law enforcement who, thank you so much, who go along to get along and who are in fact leftist Marxists and support everything the leftist Marxists do. So my question is, considering especially under the circumstances where a lot of this division, a lot of this trouble is coming from right now, with President Trump having supported the bump stock ban, and which in principle is bad, not necessarily because I like bump stocks, but in principle. He pushed the bump stock ban and the red flag laws, which in some places have already caused the deaths of people trying to defend themselves against jackbooted thugs who are enforcing unconstitutional laws. And I want to point out, I love what Trump's trying to do in his rhetoric, but then I see these things like this. I'm supporting him, don't misunderstand me. But I am not going to sit back and watch this type of division occur because he's not thinking things through. And that's what it appears to me to be. So what we have now is a situation where we have constitutional sheriffs standing against these unconstitutional laws, and then we have states and other LEOs, sheriffs, who are doing the bidding of the leftist Marxists against the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. So, in my estimation, and it has to be this way, the Bill of Rights are not political footballs that can be used for negotiation. You know, okay, if you do this for me, Democrats, I'll renege a little bit on the Second Amendment, or I'll renege a little bit on the First Amendment, or whatever, to get what I want. No, the Bill of Rights are non-negotiable, they're unalienable, and they are not up for barter. And anybody who does that, we have to consider either they're uninformed, which is in this situation is not the case, or they're complicit. Bill of Rights are non-negotiable. They cannot be used for barter in political footballs. So my question is this, President Trump, in this stand that these constitutional sheriffs are taking, which is the correct one, who are you going to support? These constitutional sheriffs who are now, and LEOs and others, who are now risking loss of their jobs, jail time, those things for standing up for what's right? Or are you going to side with those who infringe on the Bill of Rights, particularly the First and Second Amendments? Which are you going to do, President Trump? You've set this thing up. My guess is you're going to go with the places that go for the infringements, because we haven't really seen you do any positive steps in the Second Amendment area as you promised anyway. So because of Trump's statements, the leftist Marxists have really forged ahead now. Even Lindsey Graham is going along with these red flag things on a federal level. violation of due process in the Fourth Amendment, not to mention the infringement on the Second. So where are you going to stand, President Trump? With those who stand for constitutional principles? I think you need to do some repentance, President Trump. This is serious business, folks. What brought this attention, what made me think about this was where the Colorado sheriff, I think it's in Pueblo County, I might be mistaken, but he's making the stand that he won't enforce these draconian laws that are being pushed into place by the state legislature and the governor. And these same things have happened, like I said, in Washington, California, Oregon, Illinois, New York, New Hampshire, I believe, New Mexico, some other places. Unless President Trump goes along and says that these Bill of Rights are non-negotiable and not political footballs, and stands on the right side, again, we have a problem. Now, a lot of good things are happening. I saw this morning where Sean Hannity says that some really damaging information is about to be unleashed against the FBI and the DOJ, principally from the criminal referrals that Jim Jordan and those investigators have done. I think that's where it's coming from. But it could also be, as I said before, from this investigation done by Trump's team, own personal team, which is probably the source for the information in the 96 pages in the White House vault that Jay Sekulow has. But regardless of all that, I want Trump to succeed. But we've seen a lot of backtracking. We've seen a lot of things like this on the Second Amendment without any follow-up on his promises, for instance, on the concealed carry that would be recognized across the entire country. No action on that at all. So I wanted to point these things out this morning. I'm anxious for the DOJ and the FBI to be cleaned out. And I'm sure the good agents, the few that are there, want the same thing. The institution is not as important as the principles in the Constitution. Apparently Barr's pretty upset about lack of work on Huber's part, as I mentioned before. He's also upset the way that they handled the FBI and the DOJ handled the Clinton investigation. Well, again, we need to see arrests, okay? And it's disturbing to think that that's still 90 days to 6 months off, if at all. All right, well, that's all I had for you this morning. The question again I put to President Trump is, with whom and what principles are you going to stand, President Trump? Are you going to stand for the Bill of Rights and the Constitution and these constitutional and LEOs that are putting their lives and their fortunes and their sacred honor and their freedom on the line? Or are you going to stand with these draconian leftist Marxist tyrants? Remember what Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Cooper said, and it's now become like the second motto for my channel. Very important to remember. The criminal does not fear courts, justices, or law enforcement. What he must be made, what he must be taught to fear is his victim. Because you, President Trump, and your LEOs that you laud all the time, and I laud a lot of LEOs, but they're not there to defend the innocent. They come afterwards, almost 100% of the time, after the damage has been done. We can't have that. So where are you going to go? Ladies and gentlemen, if I didn't call these things out the way I see them, I would be lying to you. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything or to give people feel-good ideas of utopia. We're in a real war, and it's going to turn ugly if we don't turn it around soon. Okay, Trump might be moving ahead, but he better stop making these mistakes for political purposes. All it's doing is damaging his standing with people like me and possibly like you. That's all I got. I'm not going to take comments this morning. I'm not going to discuss what you guys are putting on chat. Thank you for being there and doing it, though. And I might be up on Thursday. We'll see. And you might see me do a couple of, impromptus like this. You never know. All right. Okay, we need to be vigilant. We need to not be involved in the cult of personality. We must stand by the principles upon which freedom and the perfect law of liberty are founded. And when we see people failing to do that, we need to call them out, no matter how other good things they do. I could talk about the border. I could talk about a lot of things, but we'll leave those for another time. I think you all know what's going on there. All right. Hey, thanks, guys. We'll see you later. I'm going to have some breakfast. Of course, you know me. I've always gone to places where I like breakfast. I think it's my favorite meal. Probably. Okay. All right. Till next time. Out here.